What is going on, IK fam? BN, I'm back again today for a retake on our first video we had put up in regards to our Dragon tier list video. Now, I'm going to talk about the reason why I'm remaking the video, and before I even get into that, as always, guys, if you enjoy the content, sub to the channel, hit that notification bell. If you want to support us as a creator for IK and our channel, there is a unique download link at the top of the description below for any Android or iOS users if you guys want to check the game out to use that. Also below, you will find, farther down in the description, official Infinity Kingdom resources, along with a link to our multi-game community server for those that want to join, where we do post videos there. We have weekly town hall meetings, along with checking out our IK section on our Discord. Now, without further ado, diving right in, the reason why I'm remaking this video is because I always like to try and review content I put out, and if there seems to be something I missed, or if I later found out about something, right, and I'm able to put out another video for it, right, if it's something farther down the line, then of course I will always try to. Now in this case, I actually was reviewing this video and my research notes, and about an hour after I put the video out, I realized that I had just missed something that is small in its print, but very big in what I'm suggesting. And again, anytime I'm able to make a correction that is putting out good content and information, I always want to try to do that. So, where did I miss out on for some information? This is what we're going to talk about now in the Dragons. So, let me do a quick review, briefly, on what we spoke about before. So, the things that we talked about was looking at things such as the stats. We were looking at the attribute stats for each of the dragons, with the exception of Shadow and Holy. So we looked at Earth, we looked at Water, we looked at Lightning, we looked at Wind, and then Fire, right? And what we figured is that, or what we found out is that the first four primary elements, being Water, Earth, Lightning, and Fire, all have 64 attribute points. They're just spread out. So Fire has everything even. Lightning has a little more favorite on physical defense and attack. Earth has the same thing for physical defense and attack, except they're just swapped between Earth and Lightning. And then for Water, they have theirs on physical attack and magical defense. Now, when we get to Wind, you'll notice that some of the stats are a little bit higher. That's because they actually have 72 attribute stat points that are distributed between these four fields. Then, when you get to Shadow and Holy, you'll notice that there's actually 80 points. So, Water, Earth, Lightning, and Fire have 64, Wind 72, Shadow and Holy at 80, right? That's just from the attribute stat portion. Now let's break down the skills. And by far the most important thing that I missed out on that first video, which again, we're going to make that correction now, is when we did our previous ranking, I had gone in the order of, what did I do here? I think I did Water, Wind, Lightning, Fire, and Earth, right? So that was the previous order I did. That was because of my oversight on not reading the fine print, which for Water Dragon, right, it says restores the designated amount of HP for 2 of the lowest HP immortals. Not everyone, but just 2. So, because I missed out on reading that, and I don't know if I was just looking at the Holy Dragon, because I know if you look at the Holy Dragon stats, right, it shows that it actually is just an improved version of the Water Dragon, right? It heals all of your units, right, and then reduces damage taken for 2 of your units. So, again, now I want to talk about going through some of the stats, right? So let's just do a quick review. So Water Dragon heals for 2, does an insta-heal, and then also has a, and then has a, oh gosh, why am I still on the Holy Dragon? I was going to be like, that guy does not have a damage reduction. So Water Dragon has insta-regen continuous. Second skill is up to 45% freeze chance for 3 random enemies, right? They can't move for 8 seconds. Then you have the passive ability, which is crit and dodge 30, which every of the dragons have for their passive skill. And then you have the 3% damage. Now, this stacks up to 5, but again, you have to, this goes off of skill damage. So this is probably the easiest dragon to proc the up to 5 stacks with, because all you have to do is hit the skills 5 times, and then you'll get your 5 stacks. With Earth, we look at first skill, and you have the Earthquake, right, which is basically gives you the up to 60% chance of stunning all enemy troops for 2 seconds. Every 3 seconds, it lasts 12 seconds, right? So you'll get 4 procs that could potentially happen, right, if it hits. Then you have the second skill, which is up to 90% chance to reduce the damage received by 3 of your random troops, and that lasts for 12 seconds. And the third and final skill is same thing, crit and dodge 30, but the damage increases up to 4%. This stacks up to 5 times, but the caveat here is that it scales as you lose 10% of your troop power. That means that you have to get to 90, 80, 60, and 50% left when you're fighting, for example, as when you can actually see the bar visually in something like a Well of Time or Mysterium. Now, for Lightning Dragon, first skill is true damage to all units, and then it doubles if units are stunned. Second ability has a up to 90% chance to reduce the normal attack damage of 3 random enemy units by 70% for 12 seconds, which is a lot. And then the third one is, again, damage increase up to 3%. Now, this is for each debuff cast on the enemy by your immortals, and then all of your lightnings can stack up to 5 times. Now we'll look at fire, and then we'll go wind. So for fire, you have true damage on all enemies, and then inflicts burn, which causes further every 6 seconds for 12. And then the second skill is you have up to 90% to increase crit damage of 3 random units by 50% for 12 seconds. Then you have in battle, this is for the third passive, you have a 10% flat damage, right? They get this whenever your fire immortals receive a buff. They'll get this. So I'm assuming this is individualized, so each time an individual immortal or a buff that applies to however many immortals, the immortals that the buff is applied to will receive this buff. And then let's talk about wind, and then we'll go ahead and try and wrap it up here to make this video a little bit shorter than the last one, which is you have the Wind Dragon, which inflicts true damage on enemies every 6 seconds within the area, right? So this is not for all the enemy immortals, but within an area, which applies to anywhere from 2 to 3, and then reduces their accuracy rate by 25% for 12 seconds. So now the second skill is you have this is like lifesteal. So it'll read as when 3 of your random allied troops land a normal attack, they have 50% chance of recovering this HP for 12 seconds. Then the last one here, which is the passive, 30% crit and dodge as usual. The damage increase is a flat 25%, but this is just for normal attack damage, not overall damage, which includes auto attacks and skill. The Wind Dragon Immortals, right, will just get a passive 25% normal damage increase. So, how do we rate the Immortals now? The way that we rate the Immortals now, based on me being able to actually read information appropriately, is I would actually rate the Immortals now as in favor of going Lightning Dragon first, because after doing the math, right, let me start here with the Water Dragon so I can give you guys some numbers. So I did the math, and multiplying this instant regen by 2, 1.865 mil, right, you end up at 3.73 mil. Then, if you do the continuous regen, which you have to double this number and then multiply it again by 2, because this is per unit for the regen, but it only applies to 6 seconds. So you have to multiply it by 2 to get the full 12-second usage from the continuous regen, and then multiply it by 2 again, because it is going to apply to 2 immortals. So you have 3.73 mil from the instant regen, then you have 1.166 mil from the continuous regen. And then times that by 2, you get 2.332. So then you get a total of 6.062 mil heal, but that's only for 2 troops, right? Then, if you look at the other baseline, but keep in mind that because it is only for 2 troops, when someone like the Lightning or the Wind or the Fire Dragon does damage, right, you are only healing essentially half of that damage, which means the other half of the damage is going through. So that means that now you're factoring the other half of the damage that goes through versus the additional continuous healing that's being done on those 2 specific immortals to see if that gets close to balancing out, or if it's still a net positive for the other dragons that do damage to all the enemies. So that's why I think it needs a little bit of some further testing. But because of this information, that's why I am reworking the ranking to be now a little bit more in favor of the dragons that do more true damage or just more pure damage overall. So now my ranking would actually be going lightning number 1, because lightning does 7.288 damage, overall damage, if you double the damage from proccing the skill first. It also has the 90% second skill, which I think the Lightning Dragon's second skill is a little better than the Fire Dragon's second skill, which then puts the Fire Dragon at number 2 for me, because the Fire Dragon will do 3.216 mil direct damage. The continuous damage is 2.568. This brings you to, or excuse me, 2 point, what do I have here? Sorry, it brings me to 5, yeah, so it totals for 5.784 mil damage, which is about 1.7, 1 point, what is it, 1 point, God, can I do math here? 1 point, what is it, 3, 7, oh, 1.5? Yeah, so about 1.5 1 mil damage less than the Lightning Dragon, right? And I do like the second skill on fire as well. I just think that depending on how you're viewing it, because right, you have the 50%, right, you have the 90% chance, but it only increases the crit rate by 50%, right? The reason I like the lightning is because you get 70% increase on the reducing the normal attack damage by 70%, right? So again, who knows if that's going to outvalue the crit or not, but I think just because of that, I do like Lightning Dragon, even though you could argue that Lightning and Fire is somewhat interchangeable. I just like Lightning because it can do a lot more overall damage if you're able to consistently proc that second skill. Now, yes, the question will come up how that plays out when you're just doing straight PvP. Because right, and that's going to be the other kind of asterisk there, is that it also depends on how it looks. Like the only way to really, I think, value it would be to test it in arena, because arena is all done off auto attack, or it's done on auto. So you can actually probably get a better gauge on, hey, am I consistently proccing double damage on however many troops if you're running a full debuff Lightning Immortal comp? If so, then yes, you could probably assume that that's how the matches are going to play out when you're doing PvP, right? And that probably will be a different video. So in that case, maybe you end up thinking that fire is probably like the lead there over lightning if it's going to be something for PvP. Like these are things you really have to think about, doing some more of these deep dives into other areas. But for now, I'm going to say I think lightning and fire are interchangeable at 1 or 2. And then I think 3 is going to be wind. Wind can do 4.112 mil damage within an area. And then then I would put water at 4, and then earth at 5, right? And earth and water could arguably be interchangeable. I'm just iffy on how earth is overall with the with the first and the second skill, really. I think the 60% stun rate is okay, but again, it's not always consistent. The second skill, then you end up having the chance of reducing damage that goes up to 90%. Right, where you reduce the damage received by 35% for the 12 seconds. So I do like it. I think it favors the more defensive, immortal characters that we see on Earth generally, being a little bit more kind of tanky and defensive based. So I think it makes sense for why you would see some of those skills utilized for the Earth Dragon. But I think just because of that, Earth typically at times can lack a lot of damage or a lot of burst. So that's why I really would put Earth kind of more interchangeable with water. But if I had to really edge something out, I still would probably put water 4, Earth 5. But again, that's really where I have my dragons ranking right now. And again, as I said, I wanted to remake the video because I wanted to really make sure that I was giving everyone watching, right, not only the most up-to-date information, but the most accurate information as I'm kind of subjectively talking about, or I should say neutrally, talking about the dragons and who I personally view as kind of being ranked. Now again, keep in mind these things can change with updates, but I'll just say as of now, that's where my ranking goes. I would love to hear what you guys think. As always, this is my opinion on how I view it. I would love to hear what you guys think about the video, about my ranking that I put out. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Why? Have you had other experiences in other areas that you feel some different positions on the boards for ranking positions would be different? If so, let me know in those comments down below. I hope you guys enjoyed my own kind of deep dive into the Dragons. And as always, I hope this helps you, whether you're a new or veteran player in IK, or if you're just getting into the game and trying to figure out what path you might want to go down. That's it from me. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace!